This is Kara Shirdon from 58 North DePauli Road. I just want to understand better why we're not able to get an extension on the request from Range Resources due to the fact that, again, we had not been notified, the affected parties have not been notified, and the agenda was not made available to me. I wasn't even aware of this until almost 5 o'clock today, and I'd really like to ask for consideration because of the timing regarding the effects of the other case. It's not going to hurt, it's not going to make their contract null and void, right? They still have, you have the time if we delay it by 1 month. I'd just like to directly understand what the issue is with tabling it for 1 month's time. For those who voted not to.
But just address the chair, please.
Yes.
All right. Just address the chair. Thank you for your comments. Do you have anything else?
So there's no explanation or other information that you provide. So there's, again, no notification, no information provided, and no harm to the outstanding agreement that they have in place. But there's still no consideration for the affected parties to be given 1 month of consideration to provide us time to do the analysis that we need to do based on extraneous circumstances.
You did vote. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Yes. State your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Ron Books, and I live at 855 Bebop Road in Benicia, Pennsylvania, Peters Township. And you might say, why am I here tonight? Well, before I tell you, I'd like to just say I am impressed with the turnout at this meeting. We have 25,000 people who live in Peters Township. I'm lucky if I see a half a dozen people at the council meetings. So I would like to say I really am impressed with the turnout here this evening, and I only wish I could get half the number to show up at a Peters Township council meeting.
I agree. Thank you. Board, may we give them a hand too? That's a great, we always do have a great turnout.
The reason I'm here tonight has to deal with public safety. And I want to call your attention to a situation that occurred last Tuesday. That was the day after Memorial Day. I was traveling along 978. I came to the Venice Crossroads, and I proceeded on toward Cannonsburg. From the crossroads, approximately a half a mile, I discovered a large tree that was suspended from one side of the road to the other side of the road. It was setting on a group of high-tension power lines. I spent a lot of time in New England. We call them deadfalls in New England. And the reason we call them deadfalls is when they fall, they kill people. I'm concerned because that tree was first observed by me during the month of December. So I was very surprised to see that it was still there when I traveled along 980 last week. I came back through the same road system to get here this evening. The tree is still there.
980 or 978?
978, pardon me, it was 978.
978's no bill.
I think 980.
Where is that?
The route between Venice and Cannonsburg.
980.
980.
Bill, are you aware?
I am aware of it. It's right pretty much as you get to the Fuchs Farm there on the right-hand side. Prior to that, it's been hanging over for a couple of years. We've turned it over to PennDOT. PennDOT won't do anything with it because it's on a communication line. communications people won't do anything with it because they have a cable that supports that line. So it just sits there waiting to fall.
Yeah, but it's gonna hurt someone.
It will.
It's been like that for 2.5, 3 years,
Yes.
maybe even longer than that.
Yeah,
And every time I go that way, I make sure that it's not ready to fall. And I tramp on it, and if I get a ticket because of the police department, I'm sorry, I'm gonna fight it. Because if that sucker falls, somebody's gonna get killed.
So why can't we do anything about it?
It's a state road.
So why don't we call our friendly state representative and our friendly state senator?
So it sounds like we have.
I've notified, I haven't talked to the state representative or state legislator, but I have forwarded that to PennDOT, and because it's laying on the power line. You know, we take that same position here in Cecil. If it's laying on any type of utility line, we will not touch it because of the danger in removing it.
So the best solution is to call that number, or maybe we can give that number to Ron, or we can make
I will
regular
have
calls.
my permits manager contact and try to determine whose line it is. I believe that would be,
I think it's Verizon.
is it Verizon?
There's two of them laying there now.
I'll have my permits manager contact the appropriate company and see if we can't get them to do something.
In the past, the utility companies, when we call them about a tree, whether it's on near our road or a state road, they just say, hey, as long as the wires aren't down, we're not going to touch it. We'll touch it when the wires get broken, and then they'll
I
respond.
can understand that, but what I would ask them is would they mind standing underneath the tree and the electrical wires until it fell? Believe it or not, I consider that to be an IED, an improvised explosive device, just like you would find in some third world backward country. And when it goes off, it kills people. So I would suggest, and that's not the only one, I actually saw several trees, decaying, dead trees, along the side of my acre as I came this way this evening. I would ask that the police department get involved with your public service department and find out exactly where these trees are. We're paying police officers to travel around the township several times a day.
But they do have a very good line of communication and letting us know what is happening.
Well, those
Roads are out. now they're
those
broken down.
trees, also the culverts, and also the if you would, the ditches or the drop-offs on the edge of the road, those are all public safety issues. Someone loses control of a car because they've run off the edge of the road and hit one of those eroded passages along the side of the road, loses control, particularly since many of us are elderly, and has a head-on collision with something.
Correct. Thank you.
Those are really inexcusable. I mean, Edgar Snyder would have a field day.
So let me just to enlighten the board, the district superintendent out here is Brian Bailey. He works for Adam Smith, who's his boss, is the
Talking about PennDOT.
maintenance engineer at PennDOT, of course. He's the district maintenance superintendent. Mr. Januso, Chief Bukovinsky, and myself met with him a couple of months ago. He's overwhelmed by what he's got out here. He's got 12 guys working for him on his staff, and he's responsible for 12 municipalities. And I commented, I have 12 guys for one municipality. So he's having a very difficult time prioritizing this work. It wasn't too long ago, Chairman Savavic called me a week or so ago about Cecil Henderson Road.
That greasy road, or that
Yeah,
oil
the
company.
Breezy Road. And I called Brian, and again, he was,
I know, but I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate that, but it's not an excuse for someone losing their life for
It's
something
not.
that could have been.
I'm just giving you some background information
We
on why it's so
understand.
difficult to bring them to the
Well,
table.
let's-
We understand why PennDOT's difficult, we just shouldn't give up until they do what we want. So let's keep on them,
Maybe.
and reach out to our state representatives, state legislators, and see if they can't help us.
Put a definitive list with best descriptions we can and just stay on that list, even to have the residents. And then while we're at it, let's go find things wrong with Peters Township.
I came over here because it's a concern that I have.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, sir.
And what's worse, and this is what really made me show up tonight, what's your township motto?
Friendliest place to raise a
Work and
family.
play.
Pardon me?
Great place to raise a family.
Uh-huh. Safest community in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay?
We're working on it. We're working.
And
Thank
one
you.
other thing, after I left the police station, I walked out to my car to find that a police officer was setting in his cruiser in front of my vehicle. And I wondered why. I guess he had me blocked in because it was presumed that I was some sort of a threat. Well, I am wearing a t-shirt here that I used when I went to the rifle range so that people would not confuse me with an ugly bear or a giant groundhog. I wore the safety green. The point is, I don't think I present an issue to public safety in the police department. And why that officer would have put his cruiser in front of my vehicle so as to prevent me from leaving, I don't understand.
Just address the chair.
He left it, he pulled out of the way and I was fine. But I'm just alarmed that someone would have to be that concerned about an individual person.
Can I
citizen.
stop you, really quick? He didn't get out of the vehicle and address you. And
I'm
so
sorry, I can't hear you, I'm hard of hearing.
Did he get out of the vehicle and address you?
No, he pulled.
So then you can't assume that that's the reason that he pulled out there. So I think that we'll say thank you for presenting.
Okay, all right, I don't want to talk about it any further, I think we've dealt with it.
Do you have one time and a date that we could investigate it? Because I know the chief
I'm
has
not
said.
making a complaint, I'm just thinking myself that maybe it was an overreaction.
When did this happen? What time and what date?
Tuesday, last week, approximately 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thank you. Certain our chief will
In the
investigate.
meantime, please, I would ask you to try to do as much as you can to improve the roads and the public safety involved in your community.
Yes.
Because myself and my children and my grandchildren don't want to be a victim. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.